Arizona's governor has moved to end a farming deal with a subsidiary of a major Saudi dairy company. Since 2015, Fondomonte has pumped huge amounts of groundwater from beneath the Earth's surface to grow alfalfa in the desert in rural Arizona. That alfalfa is sent back to Saudi Arabia, where it is used to feed livestock. CBS News investigated the issue back in April, and CBS News senior national and environmental correspondent Ben Tracy spoke then with Arizona's Attorney General.
So cows in Saudi Arabia are essentially drinking Arizona water.
Correct. These pumps are pumping water out of the ground that belongs to the state of Arizona, and essentially it's being exported to Saudi Arabia.
And Ben Tracy joins us now to explain all of this again for us. Ben, why would first a Saudi company grow its alfalfa in Arizona?
Yeah, John, that was my first question when we started reporting on this, because it does seem kind of crazy. They're basically growing alfalfa, which is hay, in the desert in Arizona. They are then shipping that all the way back to Saudi Arabia to feed their cattle. The reason they're doing that is because alfalfa is a very water-intensive crop, and it is illegal to grow it in Saudi Arabia because it uses too much water. So these companies basically look all over the world for places that have very lax groundwater regulations, and Arizona happens to be one of those places where they have been able to pump unlimited amounts of groundwater, and the state of Arizona doesn't even know how much water they've used.
Right, because Arizona not exactly known for its bountiful gurgling springs constantly everywhere. So at what point did Arizona officials start to think, maybe this isn't such a good deal for us?
Yeah, well, these leases date back to 2015. They were approved by the former governor, Greg Ducey, a Republican who was the governor in Arizona back then. And basically, this has taken on a lot of concern in the last couple of years because of the drought that Arizona has been facing. So the new attorney general basically ran on a platform of canceling these Saudi leases. That has put a lot of pressure on the current governor to do something about this. And now they have finally come out and say, we can't do this anymore. There's just too much attention being paid to this at a time when Arizona is facing its own steep water cuts because of the ongoing drought in the American Southwest.
And remind us, how serious is that drought for Arizona?
Yeah, long term, this is a real serious issue. We do know that climate change is making the West hotter and drier. We do know that Arizona gets a lot of its water from the Colorado River system, which is on the decline. So the state of Arizona is facing massive cuts to its water supply in the decades to come. And at the same time, it's one of the fastest growing states in the country. Phoenix is one of the fastest growing cities in this country. So you have this issue of a lot of people moving there, a lot of houses being built, but a water supply that is not growing, it is shrinking.
Now, turning this on the other side, is there a downside for Arizona for canceling this deal with the Saudis?
Well, the state could be sued by Fondomonte. Fondomonte came out today and basically said that the state has violated the terms of its lease by unilaterally canceling one of the lease, and then they're not going to renew the ones that are up next year. So you could see some litigation here. This could end up in the courts. But we should also mention that Fondomonte actually owns outright about 10,000 acres of land in nearby Vicksburg, Arizona, and the state can't just come in and take that land away from them. So these Saudi firms are still going to be operating there, but what Arizona is trying to do is say, well, we're not going to let you pump groundwater on the land that we own.
So, well, okay, so this is going to be tied up in the courts. What happens with this land that's at issue?
Yeah, that's a big question. So this is state-owned land, and historically Arizona has leased it out for agricultural issues. So people have been able to come in, lease this land, pump groundwater. What the state of Arizona is now going to need to decide is what is more valuable to them, this money that they're taking in from leasing the land, or actually having that groundwater in that aquifer under the ground, because this is what you call a transfer basin, where this water can be moved around the state. And it is a backup water supply for cities like Tucson and Phoenix, which, as I mentioned, are growing exponentially. So I think they're going to have some real hard conversations in Arizona about what to do with this water. And my guess is there will be a lot of pressure to simply leave it in the ground for the day that they need it, which a lot of water experts say is coming very soon.
Absolutely. Ben Tracy, thank you so much for that report.
Thanks, John.